viewers, welcome to another episode of the AI People, where we share inspiring stories of thinkers and builders who are humanizing AI. I'm your host Vivek, and today I have with me Juan, who's going to talk about what he does with Cline, and he's going to also talk about Developer Week.
Yeah. Hey everyone, thanks so much for having us. My name is Juan Flores. I'm a senior developer and advocate at Cline. Cline is an open source AI coding agent that connects to any surface that you're currently coding on. So that can be like VS Code, IntelliJ, JetBrains, whatever type of IDE that you're using, we're able to connect the agent to it. And the benefit that we have is think of Cline as the middleman between your code base and the inference providers. So what we effectively do is try to offer the best experience for the agent so that you can make the most out of the inference that you're currently paying for. That works really good for you as a hobby developer, but also if you're like in an enterprise setting where you need extra security layers, we can connect to your private cloud or even your local LLM so that you can make not only the most of the hardware you have available, but also those contracts that you have already negotiated and have your code using and have Cline as a coding agent having Cline as a coding agent using this private cloud and having your code securely be created through.
That's great to hear. And I know coding is one of the major use cases when it comes to agentic AI. Can you maybe break it down for us, like what exactly you mean when it comes to cost, and what is the magnitude of cost that we are talking about for a large enterprise?
Totally. So cost is one of the main concerns that I think both enterprises and hobbies have. Most of the time, if you're building a side project, you don't want it to be initially super expensive unless you have the ability of paying for those bills. So with Cline, there's multiple things. The first one is we do offer a ton of free models on our providers. So if you're using Cline as a provider, you get access right now to really high quality models like Minimize M255, ELM5 through Cline, and you can connect that to your code and just start to use it to vibe code or to do your professional projects. The other piece is that when you're more in an enterprise type of environment, normally they would have these very big contracts with these massive cloud providers, or they would have their own inference locally. So if they have it locally, probably cost is not a big problem because you're using the machines that you already have in your infrastructure. But if you have it on your cloud providers, then you have, first of all, a cost that you can predict, but also Cline can connect and make the most out of that inference that you are already paying for, so that if you want to have quality results out of this inference, even if you're already paying for it, you can use Cline to optimize and get that quality results out of it.
That's great. And what is something interesting that you observed at the Developer Week? I was at your booth, and there were so many people, waiting to talk to you guys. Clearly, you have a lot of traction right now with the developer community. So, what would you say is it's a trend that you observe coming to this conference, speaking to so many developers?
So, first of all, it's been great to be Developer Week. We are using Developer Week as a way to celebrate our 5 million installations of the extension. And I think there was not a better place to do the celebration. For me personally, I like being able to meet developers where they're at. And here we have a massive number of developers visiting not only our booths, but also going to these side events and having conversations with them. And it's essentially the best way that we have to connect with our local community in San Jose, get to know how developers are using Cline, and then get a ton of feedback. We're actively trying to improve Cline all the time, and while we're open source, sometimes these feature requests don't make it to the GitHub repository. And we're here trying to facilitate that and hear from our community how we can do better. We're also just hear the awesome stories about how Cline has done. And the hackathon that was hosted here, I think, provides a great opportunity for us to see what people are building, what they're cooking, and then to celebrate with them whatever they've achieved in the past 5 days that they have been doing these projects. There's a ton of professional developers and students that are doing crazy projects here, and being able to see how much they can code and how much they can do in such a short amount of time is very, very impressive.
And in the era of agentic AI and hyper automation, especially when it comes to code generation, code testing, and code deployment, you still see coding as one of the key skill sets that students should be looking to get better at. Do you see a future for coding?
100%. I think coding is still a skill that is important. The thing is that it is changing, and as part of like an environment that changes so much as technology, I think developers are probably the ones that are more used to having to do these changes, right? My thought is that coding is changing in a way that probably now you don't need to know the specific syntax of the programming language, but you still need to know how these systems work together, how to prompt the agent to do the right tasks, and give also these agents the context that they need to be successful in the task you're asking. So I think the role of a developer is not going to be in the future something where you're coding necessarily, but that you understand the coding principles to allow the agent to perform the task.
Great. And for someone who is new to agentic AI and vibe coding, what would you suggest as one or two steps that they can take to enter the arena?
Well, first of all, use Cline, of course. We're open source, we're free, you can use it, and we have a ton of free models. So if you're experimenting, you don't want to, especially one of the cool things about Cline for learning is that you don't want to pay for learning, right? You want to be able to experiment and try these models out. And we're very lucky to be able to offer a ton of these models for free. So if you're learning like vibe coding, AI engineering, Cline offers a great platform for you to not only test things out, but also since we are open source, you can see what's happening behind the scenes. So there's nothing that we're hiding on the way that Cline operates. And if you have any questions of like how is Cline managing the memory or the context, how is Cline coming up with these solutions, you can actively just look into the source code. And something that we've done in the past is like I ask Cline about Cline, and it's really good at telling me how can I improve my prompts and how can I improve the way that I'm communicating.